Welcome back. Today we are diving into Chapter 2 of Wuthering Heights. And trust me, it is wild. Ghost, blood, and some seriously questionable decisions by Mr. Lockwood. There's a lot to unpack. So grab your tea, settle in by the fire, and let's get to it. When we last left off, Lockwood had already been warned that Wuthering Heights was no bed and breakfast. But does that stop him from spending the night? Of course not. Zillah, the servant, leads him to a room with strict instructions to keep it hush-hush, because Heathcliff forbids anyone from using it. In the room, there is a large oak case that acts as a sleeping compartment. Lockwood gets in and slides the panels shut. He is now enclosed in the structure and feels safe from Heathcliff and the strange dynamics at Wuthering Heights. But curiosity gets the better of him. He finds a window ledge turned into a makeshift bookshelf with several names scratched into the paint. Catherine Earnshaw, Catherine Heathcliff, Catherine Linton. One Catherine, fine. Two, weird. Three, something's definitely not right here. He picks up one of the books and finds notes scribbled in the margins, all written by Catherine Earnshaw. The diary entry he reads is a flashback. Catherine's father has died, and her brother Hindley now rules Wuthering Heights. Life has taken a turn for the worst. Hindley is a tyrant, and poor Heathcliff, who was once treated like family, is now being degraded. Hindley blames his father for treating Heathcliff with too much kindness and vows to reduce Heathcliff to his right place. Hindley's wife, Frances, even pulls Heathcliff's hair as punishment. Heathcliff and Catherine desire to escape confinement at Wuthering Heights and Hindley's harsh treatment. They yearn to scamper on the moors and be free. Exhausted, Lockwood falls asleep, and here is where things get really strange. He has two nightmares. In his first dream, Lockwood finds himself at a nearby chapel listening to Jabez Branderham preach a sermon about hitting that like button if you are finding this video helpful. It really helps out, and I appreciate it. Actually, the sermon is based on 70 times 7, a biblical phrase Jesus uses to teach infinite forgiveness. However, Jabez's sermon becomes an obsessive and relentless catalog of sins, many of which Lockwood had never imagined. The sermon reaches a climax when Lockwood, overwhelmed by the oppressive moralism, stands up and accuses Jabez of committing the first of the 71st sins. An offense so profound it transcends ordinary wrongs and even Jesus' boundless forgiveness. Lockwood incites the congregation to tear Jabez down and crush him into atoms. But Jabez counters by accusing Lockwood of committing the unpardonable sin. Violence erupts among the congregation. The surreal dream serves as a powerful symbol of the novel's themes. It exposes the destructive potential of repressed violence and moral absolutism, where concealed guilt and unacknowledged sin erupt into brutal conflict. The contrast between hidden transgressions and public judgment reflect the paranoia, vengeance, and simmering hostility that define the relationships in Wuthering Heights. The dream foreshadows the cycle of violence and moral decay that will haunt the inhabitants of Wuthering Heights, suggesting that sin, punishment, and unforgiveness will play a central role in the unfolding drama. A branch knocking against the window wakes up Lockwood. Of course, he is oblivious about the significance of the dream, and he goes right back to sleep. He drifts into a second dream, which takes the creepy factor to a whole new level. Picture this. It's snowing, the wind is howling, and something keeps tapping on the window. Irritated, Lockwood decides to stop the noise. He tries to open the window, but it won't budge, so he smashes the glass with his fist. Instead of grabbing a branch, his hand seizes something cold, small, and human. A little icy hand grips his, and a voice moans out, "Let me in, let me in." The figure introduces herself as Catherine Linton, saying she has been lost on the moors for 20 years. Terrified, Lockwood struggles to free himself, dragging the ghost hand back and forth across the broken glass until blood spills everywhere. He finally breaks free and stacks books to block the hole in the window, but the voice keeps wailing, "It's been 20 years." The books start to move and Lockwood lets out a scream. This causes Heathcliff to rush into the dark room and say in a half whisper, "Is anyone here?" Lockwood then reveals himself and tells Heathcliff that Zillah led him into this haunted room. Lockwood recounts the nightmare and calls Catherine a changeling and a wicked little soul. Heathcliff grows so angry at Lockwood's words that he strikes his own forehead with rage. Heathcliff eventually calms down, and Lockwood notices Heathcliff wipe a tear from his eye. Heathcliff tells Lockwood to go downstairs, and he will join him shortly. On his way out, Lockwood pauses and notices Heathcliff going to the window and sobbing, come in, Cathy, do come. Oh, do, once more. Oh, my heart's darling, hear me this time. Catherine, at last." The ghost does not appear. This moment gives us a glimpse into Heathcliff's tortured soul. Heathcliff isn't just a brooding landlord. He is a man haunted, literally and figuratively, by love and loss. Consider the significance of the oak-paneled bed. Lockwood first sees it as a private, secure hideaway, safe from Heathcliff and the rest of Wuthering Heights. But this bed isn't just a cozy retreat. It once belonged to young Catherine, who used it as a sanctuary to hide her thoughts and dreams, scribbled in the margins of her books to keep them secret from Hindley. By sleeping there, Lockwood unknowingly intrudes on a sacred space. The haunting that follows symbolizes his trespass, and Heathcliff's furious reaction reveals just how much this sanctum still holds Catherine's memory and Heathcliff's undying devotion. It seems Catherine's ghost is the spirit that Heathcliff mentioned in Chapter 2 that guards the fortunes of Wuthering Heights. Downstairs, everyone is waking up and starting with their morning chores. When Heathcliff comes down, he scolds Mrs. Heathcliff for being lazy and living off his charity. Mrs. Heathcliff gives Heathcliff some sass, and Heathcliff gets ready to smack her before Lockwood interrupts. At the first sight of light, Lockwood sets out for Thrushcross Grange, and surprisingly, Heathcliff offers to walk him to Thrushcross Grange's gate. They walk 2 miles to the gate. Everything is covered in snow. When they reach it, Heathcliff says the rest of the way is easy and there is no way that Lockwood could get lost. Well, Lockwood does get lost. What is only supposed to be a 2-mile walk from the gate to the house turns into a 4-mile walk. When Lockwood finally gets inside, the servants all say they thought he had died on the moors last night. Lockwood is soaked and freezing. Lockwood's struggle to find his way home through the snow can symbolize his disorientation in this wild, untamed world, as well as symbolizing the difficulty of navigating the tangled web of relationships and histories at Wuthering Heights. So there you have it, Chapter 3 of Wuthering Heights, where things go bump in the night, ghosts grip your hands, and Heathcliff's heartbreak cuts like glass. What do you think of Lockwood's chilling dreams? And who exactly is Catherine? Don't forget to like this video so that others can find it. Thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next one.